Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Ruth Walker. I'm an assistant professor of psychology at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and today I'm going to talk to you about quantifiable skills. We're going to talk about why it's important and how do you incorporate those into your resume, your CV, your LinkedIn profile, and so forth. So first, let's look at this first candidate. It says, I am an accomplished researcher and a strong team leader. So these words and these phrases are really common across CVs, curriculum vitae, as well as resumes, LinkedIn profiles. It says, I'm a researcher, I'm a strong team leader. I want to show you the difference between this and this. So candidate 2, I have led a team of 15 researchers to complete over 10 research projects. So instead of just saying I'm an accomplished researcher and team leader, candidate 2 is providing evidence. So we want to provide evidence through these numbers to help people understand what we have done and the scope of our work. And let's compare it to candidate 3. I have led a team of 15 researchers to complete over 10 research projects, resulting in 5 publications and 2 awards for outstanding scientific contributions. So candidate 2 sounded more impressive than candidate 1 because they were providing evidence. Candidate 3 goes over and beyond by talking about the impact of their work. So not only the scope, but the impact. So if you are deciding who you're going to hire across these 3 candidates, candidate 3 is going to outshine the rest by a long margin. So let's look at this other one. So this is an example more appropriate for an undergraduate student. So at least at my university, we have many students that work and do applied work experience through the department as a teaching assistant, for example. So candidate 1 served as a teaching assistant for introductory statistics and psychology, helped grade assignments, and answer student questions as needed. So this student, on their resume, they're talking about the things that they did. They're describing their job. Let's compare it to candidate 2. Mentored a group of 50 undergraduate students, creating a GroupMe to maintain open communication for course updates, reminders, and questions throughout the semester, provided detailed feedback on course assessments within a week of submission, developed and presented a midterm and final review to a class of 45 students, held weekly office hours assisting students with course-related questions and concerns. Same roles, candidate 2 goes into more detail, but more specifically, it tells you about the scope of their work, working with 50 undergraduate students, also tells you about the timing of their work, provided feedback within a week of submission, in addition to telling you about weekly office hours, so something held on a rotating basis, as well as, again, the students and the accomplishments of completing the midterm and the final review session. So candidate 2 also looks much stronger. So there are ways that you can take experiences that you have as an undergraduate student and volunteer work and research assistant, teaching assistant, things like that, even if you don't have as great or as much experience in the workplace yet. So you don't need to tell people what you do. You need to show people the scope and the impact of what you do. So this is a quote from a recruiter that I follow on LinkedIn, gives tons of great advice. So let me talk you through some of the things that he's really talking about. So you're going to talk about time, money, team, scope, and impact when you are adding in these quantifiable skills. So let's talk through each one of these and go through some examples of what that looks like. So quantifying time, give information about the time frame you completed the work in, provided detailed feedback to 25 students within a week of assignment submission. And if you did it faster, awesome, say that, say within 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever that like scope of time is for you and whatever that turnaround is, add that in because that tells people a little bit about how your time is being managed. So now we're going to quantify money. So how much money did you make, save, or manage? Here's an example. Exceeded sales standards for 2 years, contributing to a sales growth of $600,000. So this wasn't just for the student who had written this in their resume. This was for the entire team that they worked with. And this was for like a jewelry sales position. This one accurately handled an average of $1,500 to $3,000 in sales a day. So for this student, they were working at a restaurant and they would regularly handle money. So we're quantifying the amount of money that they worked with. What money is going to look like, if whether you save, make, or manage, is going to depend on the job role that you have, whether that makes sense or if that's even something that you can talk about. But if you can, you absolutely want to add that in. Next, you're going to quantify your team. So who are you working with? So you're going to give information about the company, the organization, the size, the structure. So here are some examples. This is from a student who did an internship as an undergraduate in human resources. So centralized onboarding and offboarding procedures for a team of 150 employees and more than 100 consultants. Now let's talk about quantifying scope. So when we're quantifying scope, you're going to help prospective employers, graduate school application reviewers. You want whoever is looking at your materials to understand the scope of your work. So here are some examples. This is from a student who did some volunteer work. Prepare meals and serve food to 100 to 125 homeless and low-income families affected by addiction. Here's another example. Effectively trained 5+ personnel in policies and procedures. And for both of these, I just want to point out really quickly, the top one is a range because it varies. They are volunteering for an organization that's not always the same number of people. So they're giving a range of the people that they serve. And the second one, they don't remember exactly how many people they trained. So they picked on the low end and put the plus sign because they knew it was probably more. So this is a way to be accurate and be truthful while still acknowledging that that number may not be precise. And here's one last example. And this is for a student who had an internship as an undergraduate student with human resources. So made a significant contribution to the development, synthesis, refinement, and pilot implementation of 100+ training programs ranging in length from 30 to 120 minutes to facilitate successful change adoption. So that sounds incredibly impressive, and that is part of the point and the rationale behind getting an internship or a practicum experience as an undergraduate student, because those experiences can add incredibly meaningful work and quantifiable skills and accomplishments to your resume while you're still in school. So let's talk about quantifying impact. So you're going to showcase the impact of your work on the organization, project, community, whatever it is that you're working with. So I'm going to show you some examples from undergraduate students as well. So served as Vice President of Psych-Chi, helped increase member engagement at meetings by 25%. Served as a member of Modern Psychological Studies Editorial Review Board, contributing to the successful publication of 29 articles in Volume 29, Number 1. Volunteered for National Voter Registration Day with the League of Women Voters, assisting with the successful registration of more than 50 high school students. So all of these is talking about impact. So what did you help do? So the second one, helped with the publication of 29 articles by being a member of that review board. And if I was putting this on my resume, I'd also include a link to that particular volume so people could follow up to look at that. Served as a member of Vice President of Psych-Chi, helped increase member engagement. Let's say you don't know how to do the math to calculate that or anything like that. That's where AI can be a helpful tool. So you just plug it in ChatGPT. Say this is about how many people we had on average at our meetings last year, and this is how many people we have at our meetings on average this year. What would be the percentage increase? ChatGPT will also show you how it did it. And volunteering for different organizations such as the League of Women Voters and the American Red Cross. I mean, there are tons of really amazing nonprofits that you can work with. If you can ask them some information about the impact, you might not have it yourself, but you can always reach back out to the people that you're working with, and they will give you this kind of information to include. So let's talk about some other examples. So I want to highlight some roles that students commonly have as an undergraduate student. So administrative assistant. So provide administrative support to the team. Instead of saying something like that, we're going to be a lot more specific. Support a team of 40+ employees, including 4 senior leads, with high volume administrative tasks and a 200-person manufacturing company specializing in CPG. I don't know what any of that means. However, it gives you a much better understanding of the scope of this person's work. So let's say that you're working as a student assistant with a department at your university. Talk about how many faculty you're serving. Talk about how many students are majors in that department. Talk about how many phone calls you're helping with, or copies you're making, or any of those types of things. Add in that information to give people a better understanding of the scope of your work. If you're working in a doctor's office, how many doctors are you working with? What kind of team are you serving in terms of nurses and medical assistants? All of that information helps people really understand and have a better understanding of your work. So serve customers and provide a positive guest experience. More detailed, serve 200 plus customers daily in a busy 60-seat restaurant and maintain an average check value of $120. This is much more specific. And maybe you don't work in a restaurant that serves that many customers a day, or doesn't have that many seats. Whatever is true for your job, include that and add in those details. Customer service representative. Rather than just saying assist customers with concerns and questions, you're going to be much more specific. Handle 100 plus daily calls for billing, technical support, and sales across 4 services for a national telco company with over 10,000 employees. You could also talk about how many customers or clients or patients. All of that, it would be important quantifiable information you can add in. Registered behavior technician, provided direct behavioral services to clients. Being more specific, implemented 7 to 10 hours of direct behavioral service to clients in both individual and group sessions each week under the supervision of 3 board-certified behavior analysts. So we are adding in these quantifiable skills and additional details to give people a better understanding of the time, the scope, the impact, the teams, all of those things that we've been talking about. So one of the things that we want to avoid on our resumes, our LinkedIn profiles, is just throwing out these words. So you don't want to just tell them, I'm passionate, I'm motivated, I'm ambitious, I'm detail-oriented, I'm strategic, efficient, creative, flexible. You want to show them that you are all of those things. And you can do that by including evidence. So this is one of the things, I'm in psych, so we care a lot about evidence and being able to show the data for what it is that we're doing. And that's exactly what we're doing by adding in quantifiable skills. So rather than saying, I'm passionate about volunteering, you're going to say, dedicated 100 plus hours to volunteering at blank organization supporting blank initiatives. Whatever it is, fill it in with your specific experiences. It doesn't have to just be 100 hours for it to be impressive. It can be 25 hours. It can be whatever it is that's true for you. But you want to prove it. Rather than just saying you're passionate about it, prove it with your data. Ambitious childcare provider. Established and led weekly educational activities, enhancing the learning experience for 15 plus children. So we're talking about time with weekly, and we're also talking about how many children you're working with. Organized events for a local charity. This is something that students will commonly contribute to and have this on their resume. Instead, coordinated logistics for 5 fundraising events supporting the success of whatever charity it is that you're working with. Experienced in blank. So instead of just saying that, you're going to prove it. Accumulated 500 plus hours of hands-on blank experience demonstrating adaptability and responsibility. So this is where, again, internships, practicums, those type of experiential learning experiences can be really important to get as an undergraduate student, so you can add this kind of information to your resume. Detail-oriented volunteer coordinator. Ensured accurate record keeping and registration for 50 plus volunteers, improving coordination efficiency. So again, we're proving it by giving evidence that we were detail oriented. Flexible team player. This is something that people love to put on their resume. Instead of just, again, doing that, we're going to prove how you were. Adapted to changing organizational needs, trained to excel in 5 different key positions, supporting my coworkers where needed. So this kind of adaptability is really common for a lot of entry-level positions or our jobs, so that I see that students are working while they're going through undergrad. So if you're working at a major department store, you're working in food service or customer service, oftentimes you have to be trained to work in different positions because you never know where you're going to be needed. That shows flexibility, that shows adaptability. So talking about that strategically by talking about how you were trained in multiple positions is definitely something that you can use to highlight that particular quality in yourself. So the next step, now that we've talked about all of the things that you can do to add these quantifiable skills to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and your CV, is to do it. So I'm going to put a link to a blog that I recently wrote that includes the same information, and it will just kind of walk you through it. It's a good reference tool to go back to, and hopefully you can use that to help improving that LinkedIn profile, that CV. I'm also going to link to that recruiter's LinkedIn profile that I have found so helpful to follow and gives such great advice. So let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comments, and I'm happy to respond.